know that in the Battle of Siffin, when Imam Ali agreed to go to arbitration, there were some people in his army who objected very strongly to this movement because they said arbitration means that you are going to allow human beings to try to resolve this situation instead of trusting in God alone. And so they said, it should be in God alone that we trust. We should continue the fighting. If we are in the right, then God will grant us victory. Therefore, to go to arbitration, they said, is a lack of faith. Now, this is a direct challenge because you are challenging Imam Ali and the rest of the Muslim community, and you are saying that they lack faith. How can you possibly say that? You're saying, in fact, that they are no longer Muslims because they don't agree with the position that this group took up. This group then come to a decision that they can no longer be part of the army of Imam Ali, and that they must leave, they must go out. Because they go out, they are known as the Kharijites, those who break away, those who go out and leave the camp of Imam Ali. Around 3,000 men, we're told, left the camp of Imam Ali in Kufa. They went out and they set up their own base in Narawan, about 50 miles outside Kufa. Now, they actually called their community in Narawan by a name which gives us a clue into their mentality. They called it the Haven of Purity. And of course, what they're saying is here that we stand on a higher ethical level than all others because we alone are operating according to the pure teaching of God, the pure guidance of the Quran. This then became a challenge for all the communities that surrounded them. Now, what they are doing is saying something very profound. They are saying, we human beings are capable of standing in ultimate judgment over the heart of other human beings who say that they are Muslims. Now, the vast majority of Muslim scholars, Muslim people down through the ages, the 99.9%, let us say, they have always maintained it is God alone who can judge the human heart. No human being is capable of doing that. And we have an episode in the life of the Prophet that exemplifies this. There was an attack on the community in Medina. He sent out a group of men to see off the attackers. When they returned, their leader came to make his report. And he reported, we chased this one, we caught that one, this one escaped, and so on. And then he said, but the leader, he went down into a wadi and we were able to surround him. And as we were closing in on him, he jumped down off his horse, he threw down his sword, and he made the Shahada. He professed faith in God and in the messenger of God. But, said the captain of the group, we knew that he was a lying beast, and so we killed him anyway. And the Prophet then spoke to him very sternly and said, and before you killed him, did you take out his heart so that you could examine it? Who do you think that you are to stand in ultimate judgment on another human being? That is God's job. God is the only one who knows the human heart. Therefore, if somebody says that they are a Muslim, they are a Muslim. They may be a bad Muslim. They may be a wicked Muslim. They may be brought before the courts. They may be punished for their crimes. But the human being can never stand in ultimate judgment on another. That was the position of Imam Ali and of the whole majority of Muslims then and down through the ages. But there were a small group who took a different position. Now, these Kharijites became very dangerous because they said, faith expresses itself in works. We human beings, we can see the works. If your works do not follow the guidance of Islam, that is proof positive that you are not a Muslim. And if you say that you're a Muslim, but we know you're not, then you are a lying hypocrite. Therefore, you must be killed. And what's more, you're likely to have polluted your family and those around you, so they must be killed too. Now, this is a terrifying way of thinking. But what the Kharijites did is that they went around the villages in the neighborhood and they caught hold of people and they interrogated them. And if they decided that this person was not a true Muslim, they would kill him, and they would kill his family too. This was going on for some time, and it came to a head. And it came to a head when they went into a certain household in a certain village, and they killed a woman who was pregnant in front of her husband. And they opened her body and they took out the unborn child from her body and they killed it too in front of her husband. Imagine his suffering. And then they killed him too. And Imam Ali said, this is enough. That is the end. Now we must go to war and we must deal with these Kharijites. So true to his own practice of warfare, he sent them a message. He tried to enter into negotiation with them and tried to call them back to the true way of Islam. About half of them, about 1,500 of the men, saw that they were in error and they came back to embrace the way of Islam. But the remainder, again about 1,500, they were obstinate and they were sure in their own minds that they were right. And so they decided to fight against the Prophet and his army. And of course, they were trusting, if we are in the right, God will decide, God will give us the victory. As we might expect, they did not have the victory. The victory went to Imam Ali and to his men, and the Kharijites at this time were wiped out. They ceased to be in that place. But here's a crucially important point. After they were killed, Imam Ali ordered that each one of them should be given a Muslim burial. And he is recorded as praying over them himself and leading the funeral prayer. This is a very important insight. It is not for us to decide whether this person is a Muslim or not, even though they are a rebel against the Imam and the Muslim community and the book and the Prophet. That is for God to decide. Now, in this way, the Kharijites then fall off the page of history. But unfortunately, there is always a tendency in human beings to want to stand in judgment on other people and to usurp the position of God. And of course, that tendency has arisen again in our own times. And we have seen it in Iraq, in Syria, and in Afghanistan, and in other places too. The group that calls itself ISIL, the group that dares to call itself the Islamic State, this is there ideology. This is their methodology. They are Kharijites. And we can see what happened to the Kharijites at the hands of Imam Ali.